it's a given fact that 98.4% of the armed forces officers are going to retire at a rank which is lesser than their peers, or rather to say, not lesser, but one rank lower than their peers, or maybe what they aspire to be. I mean, that's a mathematical fact. That's how steep the hierarchy of officers in armed forces is. That's how the structure is. 55% would not be recommended at the lieutenant colonel or the equivalent level in Navy and Air Force. Another 17 odd percent after having made the first selection grade, so on and so forth. In spite of this, when let's say if it was me as an individual, if I am not recommended, जब वो न्यूज़ मुझे आएगी, जिस दिन मुझे पता लगेगा कि मुझे बोर्ड के अंदर नॉट फिट दिया गया है, या आई हैव नॉट बीन recommended by a selection board, it is bound to create a negative reaction. It is, I mean, that's how it is going to be. Let's accept that. I mean, there's nothing wrong in it. When the news is broken, even if you were kind of aware that, this is what the result is going to be, it still is going to pain. Justified or not, you are feeling a loss. You will feel, for lack of a better word, humiliation, and you will feel at pain. वो होगा. No human, I mean, I wouldn't say no human, but 99% of the human cannot avoid having a negative reaction to a loss. So some amount of negative reaction is okay. In fact, if I were to say or tell someone, I would say, give yourself the opportunity to feel bad. You are a human. Don't be reckless in an effort to be brave. That's okay. इनफैक्ट एक टाइम स्लॉट बना लीजिए कि इस टाइम में थोड़ा सा ब्रूड करूंगा, एंड गेट अराउंड, get some friends, feel and process the emotion. You are feeling emotional at when you get overlooked, or when you are sidestepped. It is natural to feel that surge of negative emotions, and don't bottle up your feelings, because that can actually become unhealthy over a period of time and seep in various different unhealthy ways. Rather, process the negative emotion, feel it with the force of it, and let the grief pass through you. किसी किसी को कोई इस चीज को एक हफ्ते में प्रोसेस कर लेता है, किसी को 2 से 3 महीना लग जाता है. Beyond that, if it persists, then yes, it's a cause for an alarm. But उतना उस लॉस को प्रोसेस करना is the first step whenever at whatever rank you get overlooked. More so if you get overlooked at the rank of a lieutenant colonel or a wing commander or a commander, then processing it is very important, because you are too young at that age, 36, 37, 38, to be able to understand that in the larger scheme of things, this is just another event which has happened. This is yet another decision which now opens a whole lot of possibilities. But उस वक्त तो वो it comes as a shocker, as a loss. So it's okay to process that feeling, and you should process that emotion. Once you have processed it with your heart, बुरा लगना था, लग गया, 2-4 दोस्तों के साथ बैठ करके गम गलत करने के लिए 2 ड्रिंक भी एक्स्ट्रा कर लिया, you pass that, वो 2-3 महीना निकल गया. The pain of that blow is now kind of acceptance में आ रहा है, and it's now becoming a part of your routine, your internal narrative. That is when you should start clearly thinking, or rather clearly, instead of clearly thinking, you should start analyzing this with your head. So the next step is that now you need to start analyzing it with your head. कि मुझे इस जर्नी में क्या अलग करना चाहिए था? What things could have been done differently so that the outcome was different? Because that naturally was not an outcome you wanted. And in that different actions or the different inputs, what was your contribution? in the outcome? What was your contribution? And what was the external contribution? I would recommend that you should actually write down when you're thinking with your head. In fact, if possible, even write down when you're thinking with your heart, जब आप अपने फीलिंग अपने इमोशन को प्रोसेस कर रहे थे, बट अब तो और ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है that you write down what you're feeling when you are using your head to now do a clinical analysis, a mathematical analysis. और यह दो चीज़ है which you need to understand. One, nothing is ever 0 and 1. इसका मतलब क्या है कि 100% आपका भी कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं है और 0% भी आपका कंट्रीब्यूशन. इट इज समवेयर इन बिटवीन. और वो मैथमेटिकल असेसमेंट आपको करना है, नॉट विद एन आइडिया टू सेल्फ ब्लेम कि यार मैं तो कितना निकम्मा हूँ, या मुझे तो कुछ नहीं आता है, या मेरे बस का कुछ नहीं है. एंड नॉट विद एन आइडिया टू एक्सटर्नल ब्लेम की सिस्टम ही खराब है, सारी दुनिया मेरे पीछे है, और मतलब ये तो ईमानदार आदमी की कदर नहीं है, या ग्राउंड सोल्जर्स को कोई पूछते नहीं है. नहीं. With a clear idea as to what was the external factors because of which this is the outcome that I could not be recommended, and what were the internal contributions. अगर आप ये नहीं करेंगे, अगर आप अपने contributions को नहीं समझेंगे और external factors को नहीं समझेंगे, then you will continue to repeat the same actions and behavior. Recognizing your own patterns, that recognition of your contributions and attributes is extremely important. So frankly, no one can write you off, but at the same time, no one can make you also. ये वो वाली बात है, कुछ लोह खोटा, कुछ लोहार खोटा. So you need to now understand that what was in your contribution, which in the given external context, you could have changed so that the outcome was different from what the outcome right now is. Recognizing that thing, recognizing that change in contribution is the first mental shift you need to make for the next steps of doing what you want to do going ahead. ऐसा बहुत हद तक possible है that you'll realize that yes, I was more or less right. 70% of the times I was right, but it was the external factors which were not in favor of me. Fine. If this is the realization you come to, that's okay. If the realization is different, that no, it was only 30% which was the external factors, or 20% which were the external factors, 70-80% of this result is something because it was me who did not do the right things, or who did not do the things which were needed, then maybe your effort is now to make those changes. But that self analysis, self realization, self recognition is the next step. So first step is that you let the negative emotion be processed, feel that pain, undergo that process of overcoming the grief. Next, clinically analyze what was it. Now after that, let's say you want to seek a PMR. Let's assume that you have reached that that decision that you are a good enough person, and you still have a lot of aspirations, and you still have a lot of desire to prove yourself, and you want to seek a PMR, and now you would like to make a fresh start. Then you have to understand that now you'll need to work harder. It's not an easy thing. So now you have taken a bigger responsibility toward yourself. Now you have to develop yourself yet again. PMR is a very, very laborious, it's a very, very difficult task you'll have to now fulfill. And if you agree to take that responsibility, then you'll have to work towards that. And what you need to understand is that serving the uniform is a very, very big commitment, and seeking PMR is a bigger commitment. और अगर ये आप अपने लिए जिम्मेवारी ले रहे हैं, then you cannot take half measures there. Then there's no point seeking PMR. And professional growth is a very, very important part of all individuals' lives. It is an extremely important part of of how you see yourself. It is about self responsibility. So, if I talk about layers of responsibility as an individual, the first responsibility for all of us lies towards ourselves. We are responsible for ourselves, how we work on ourselves. Once you're okay, once you're happy with your sense of self worth, is only when you can actually make others around you happy. It's only when I'm happy with myself and contented and satisfied with the efforts I put towards my own pursuits is when I can make my child happy, when I can make my spouse happy, then when I can make my community happy. If you're not able to do that, please don't seek PMR. So if you decide to seek PMR, you have to accept, agree, and then take necessary steps to understand that it's a bigger commitment than even serving the uniform. Next two things I'll talk about: personal changes and professional changes. So all of us need to make personal changes. All of us. We all have our own personality traits which we need to work upon, and it's not easy. It's not easy for anyone. ये motivational speakers कह देते होंगे आसान है, मुझे तो नहीं मिला अभी तक आसानी, and it's a difficult thing which is okay, करेंगे. So what I started doing, and I'll share this as a personal this thing, probably it might help some of you. Around 10 years ago, I made a list of 10 things I need to change about myself. And it could sound very insignificant, but I still have that. कुछ हद तक maybe 100 में से 20-22% उसके ऊपर improvement आया है. So I had an anxiety disorder and I used to bite nails. I used to smoke. I used to use a lot of swear words. I still drink alcohol at times. I have a very, very strong sweet tooth. I'm pretty reactive. So a lot of things I want to change about myself. So I made a list of 10 things and I took it upon myself, one change at a time, 1 year, nothing big. So in 2013-14, I decided and I kind of worked upon not biting nails. Now looking back, it looks 10 years ago, a very insignificant change, but it gave me a lot of confidence in being able to push myself to bring about a change in my personality, in my own behavior. Then next year, once I was, I could succeed in that personal change for a year or so, I decided to quit smoking. It's been around 9+ years that I've been tobacco free. It's still a struggle on an ongoing basis. When I'm with friends who smoke, and I still have, at sometimes feel, let's have a drag, but I am able to now push that feeling a bigger lot. I am trying to work on not using swear words, especially when in personal interactions, etc. All these changes are important so that you have that sense of progress as a human being on your personal level. And some of these changes will happen 100%. Some of these would be percentages better than where you are. So let's say if you're a smoker and if you smoke, if you consume around 10 cigarettes a day, if you're able to reduce it to 7 cigarettes, that's a change, a positive change. Keep working towards those positive changes. And next is the professional skill. Develop a professional development program for yourself. A choice of profession, whatever profession you want to be. You want to be a security professional after your service and after seeking PMR, then that's the profession you choose to be. Now, see what are the skills of the top professionals in your choice of profession. Say, I'm in real estate. I have some people I see as aspirational or those who have been the most accomplished people in my industry. I am in finance industry. Now, this is not to say that I would be the Warren Buffett. I could be, I may be, I may not be, irrespective. But that's the aspiration I would set myself to, and then I'll see what steps are needed to be taken to go there. And on a regular basis, I will improve my knowledge of finance and real estate, negotiation skills, and learning about allied fields, say valuations, accounting, engineering aspect, etc. Similarly, whatever field you choose to be, if it is cyber security, if it is facilities, if it is logistics, set the benchmark of the topmost professional in that field or the top 5-10 professionals in that field, and then break it down to uh, what the journey they have taken, and start working on that journey from today for yourself. Over a period of time, you will realize that you have developed so much of talent that you will be able to summon your talent at will, as and when you decide to summon your talent. And you do this self investment not for getting a better job or for getting paid extra. I mean, those are all byproducts. Once you are professionally developed to that extent, money and jobs and opportunities, they will follow you. You have to make a concrete professional development plan and work on it with dedication and discipline. And so personal, professional. Third is now I'll this particular thing which I'll say now is pressure will change everything in your life. So you should develop the capacity to take a lot of pressure. And how do you do that? And again, a practical solution here. Start by adding 1 hour extra to your work life every day. Even if it is office work, decide that you'll do 1 hour of extra office work every day. And that is not just sitting in the office, but doing some genuine value added work which will add value to the working of what you are doing. Similarly, and follow this commitment for maybe 3 odd months or 100 odd days, 100 hours of extra work, and that will give you an enhancement in your pressure taking capability. Take it to now 1.5 hours extra, 2 hours, and then take it to around 3 hours of extra work every day. So it's 8 plus 3. When you start putting in that kind of labor, it will bring about a very strong and unshakable change in your work ethics. And it will increase your pressure taking capabilities to the next level. You will suddenly find that you can take on a lot of workload, and that workload and that change which you can effect in lot of things which you do, and then you start putting in towards acquiring new skills. And at one point in time, take a challenge. Take a challenge, something which will force you to raise your efforts, but not so overwhelming that it will paralyze you. So maybe, take up a skill. I want to do a course or a certification in next 6 odd months. It should ideally be a course or a certification which can be done in 9 months, but you take a challenge that you'll do it in 6 months. But it should not be something which can be done in 3 years and you want to do it in 6 months. So challenge yourself, push yourself, and every time keep pushing yourself. Increase your capability to take pressure. And now what I say, this comes very hard for Fauji officers. They are extremely shy of seeking help because उनको ये लगता है कि हमें किसी से मदद लेने की क्या जरूरत है. And frankly, what I have realized, it's actually your ego which doesn't let you, proceed with seeking professional help. आपको तो सब पता है, this what we feel. हम तो दुनिया को बताते हैं क्या करना है, हम तो डायरेक्शंस देते हैं, हम तो इंस्ट्रक्शन देते हैं. बिल्कुल ठीक है भाई, लेकिन मदद की जरूरत सबको होती है. अगर आपको वर्दी में आने के लिए किसी की मदद चाहिए थी, आपको ट्रेनिंग्स के लिए किसी की मदद चाहिए थी, इंस्ट्रक्टर्स चाहिए थे, गाइड चाहिए थे, उस्ताद चाहिए थे, तो अब अगर आप पीएमआर लेना चाहते हैं, देयर इज एब्सोल्युटली नो शेम इन सीकिंग हेल्प इन मूविंग इनटू कॉर्पोरेट. और बाहर बहुत सारी हेल्प अवेलेबल है आपको. ओके, वैल्यूज नेटवर्क एज अ चैनल, एज अ फोरम इज अवेलेबल. उसके अलावा बहुत सारे आर्म फोर्सेज ऑफिसर्स हैं जो इस डोमेन में काम करते हैं. फ्रॉम मेरी जो लिमिटेड नॉलेज है, कर्नल प्रेम वास इज देयर, दिस कर्नल Sajan Mohiddin, he does a lot of some scientific evaluation as to what kind of fields will help you, what will meet your temperament. Then there's Captain Venkat of Zenix. He does a lot of work in transition. So once you start seeking help, you will also find आपको खुद भी और बहुत सारे help groups, peer groups से मिलते रहेंगे. Seek professional help. अगर वो किसी सिविलियन से भी लेने की जरूरत है, seek that. This is all a part of self investment. There's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing to feel कि यार मैं किसी से क्या मदद लूंगा. And armed forces by so far is one of the biggest community that you will find even in the corporate. So seek out, increase your network. The community will tell you what to do, how to do, and also connect you to the appropriate decision makers when the time comes. Start networking and start seeking help. That's a part of the decision to seek PMR, to move out, and to better your professional chances outside. So do seek professional help and be okay paying for it. आपने अभी तक भी दिया है पैसा, आगे भी दीजिए. That's perfectly all right. Let's say you continue to serve, which is okay. Personal decision, no one to judge why you should continue to serve. Still, you have to be, even if you continue to serve, you have to be honorable. Whatever duty is given to you, it's a sacred duty. You're a commissioned officer, चाहे वो job internally looked up है या नहीं है, but from the citizen's point of view, you are an officer responsible for that job, and you have a moral and a professional obligations to be true to that task, to that brief. So strive to be best in your chair. Every office you occupy is a responsibility and honor lies within. आप कोई भी काम करते हैं, the Chetwood motto still applies. So let's say if I am someone who got overlooked and now I have been given the responsibility of being a movement control officer, I am still an officer of the government of India, and supersession is just a small part of the large responsibility. I have to continue to discharge my responsibilities without bothering about external validation. It may not translate into a rank or maybe the associated perks of a rank, but good work will not go unnoticed, and good committed valued work will definitely not go unnoticed. Even if it goes unnoticed, that's immaterial. This is my internal honor. So if I continue to serve, I'll still serve with the best possible I can do. And if you wish to come out and if you wish to seek PMR, you have to take conscious decisions either ways to not repeat the patterns of what where you are right now, and what the outcomes have been. Make changes personally, professionally. And let me repeat this: no one owes you anything. And I'll say it two more times: no one owes you anything. Not the uniform, not the community, not the corporate. No one owes you anything. You'll have to work hard, you'll have to work long, and there are no easy outs. There's a lot of promise outside. आज की डेट में तो बहुत promise है. Lot of possibilities, but there is also a huge amount of input. और आप कभी भी कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाएंगे. आप आज से तैयारी करें, 2 साल लगाइए पीएमआर लेने के लिए, बाहर आएंगे, इट इज स्टिल गोइंग टू बी कंटिन्यू टू वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस. आप कभी भी ये नहीं सोच सकते कि अब तो कंप्लीट हो गया जी, अब तो मैं यहाँ पहुंच गया हूँ. वहां जाएंगे, वहां के अपने चैलेंजेस. सो growing professionally is always a challenge. It is continuing to take a lot of hard work. And serving the uniform, as I said, is a big commitment. PMR is an even bigger commitment because when you are going outside as an ex-services officer, you are carrying a rank, and that rank is still an aspiration of millions. And people still look up to us as officers who once served the nation in the capacity of a commissioned officer. So you cannot choose to be any less than what you're looked upon to. So if you decide to, decide whether you want to continue, and if you want to continue, be very, very honorable there. If you seek PMR, you have to make a choice to work extremely hard, and it's a personal decision. You can't base it on peers or friends, and this decision is about you. It's not about your spouse. It's not about your children. There are two underlying emotions which you need to understand here. One is the fear of change. It is going to be incredibly difficult. Whatever others say, कि हो जाएगा, no, it is going to be incredibly difficult. Your effort will have to be more than the level of difficulty. And now what you need to see is my fear of change bigger, or is the aspiration of proving myself bigger? वो balancing out, वो decision आपको लेना है. And seeking PMR is an aspirational step. आप सर्वाइव कर जाएंगे, उसकी चिंता मत कीजिए. योर पेंशन एंड योर रिटायरमेंट कॉर्पस would be enough to help you survive. I'll take you back to the 10-meter board jump in the academy. All cadets who jump from that board survive. मेरे पूरे कोर्स में एक ही बंदा ऐसा था जो डाइव कर पाता था from the 10-meter board, and he had that level of skill. He was a swimmer, he was a diver before joining academy, and he could do it बट मुझे लगता है वो भी जब डाइव करता है थोड़ा सा डर उसे भी लगता होगा, और हमें तो बहुत ज्यादा डर लगता था. बट देन इनिशियली वी वर पुश्ड, लेटर ऑन वी रियलाइज कि यार ये करना ही पड़ेगा, तभी हम कमीशन ले पाएंगे. सो दैट दैट फियर ऑफ नॉट जंपिंग बिकॉज ऑफ द फियर की कुछ चोट लग जाएगी, उससे ज्यादा बड़ा एस्पिरेशन था दैट वन शुड बी एबल टू कंप्लीट द ट्रेनिंग. और उस फियर को ओवरकम किया, तभी सारे कोर्समेट जो है वो कमीशन ले पाए. एक दो नहीं किया एंड दे वर आस्क्ड टू लीव द एकेडमी. सिमिलरली here you have to take a decision what is bigger in your mind, the fear of change, and it is just a change. Your survival is guaranteed, your survival is assured, or the aspiration to grow. It will, at this stage, it takes courage more than skill. And when I say why it takes courage more than skill, because you know what you know कि हाँ ये आज की सिचुएशन ही है ऐसे. यू ऑल्सो नो वॉट यू डोंट नो. बाहर बहुत सारी दुनिया है, आपको नहीं पता कि बाहर क्या स्किल्स चाहिए, वो आप पता करेंगे. सो यू डोंट नो, यू नो दैट यू डोंट नो अबाउट द इंडस्ट्री, यू डोंट नो अबाउट द कॉर्पोरेट, वो आपको पता है. बट द वर्ल्ड इज सो बिग, यू डोंट नो वॉट यू डोंट नो. आपको ये भी नहीं पता कि आपको क्या नहीं पता. इस बात को कहने का मतलब है कि जब आप उस तरफ जाने लगेंगे, यू विल गेट टू नो अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स विच जो अभी तक आपके reckonable list में ही नहीं था, which are going to help you grow, which are going to help you achieve more professional success. But that aspiration can only be fulfilled if you are ready to take that leap of faith and you believe that your fear of change is not really tangible to the degree that it should stop you from taking that aspirational step. So you decide, and as Sikh regiment का motto is निश्चय कर अपनी जीत करो. Possibilities are endless for a very simple reason. As of today, India is a $3.5 trillion economy. So if you are someone who is in his 40s and intends to work for another 20 years, in next 10 years, India is going to be a $7 trillion economy. In next 20 years, India is going to be a $14 trillion economy. Implication being, the industry is actually hungry for professionals, it is hungry for talent, it is looking for people who are committed and will work and will participate in this surge of India as the next biggest, largest growing economy. So the possibilities are endless. The decision which needs to be taken is, are you someone who is up to the task, and are you someone who is ready to take that change and undergo the pain of that change? I am done for the day.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind.